this is Frenchie from Rack It Back Armory bringing you a Glock 43X reassembly video. Picking up where we left off, it had been fully disassembled and we went ahead and sandblasted it, laser engraved, and re-cerakoted, as you can see here. And now we are ready to reassemble. As with last time, very similar tools where a pair of pliers, needle nose or otherwise, a brass hammer, and in my case I have a Glock tool here, but you can use any old screwdriver instead. They serve a similar function. This just makes your life a little bit easier. And a little bit of oil to lube things up. We will start with the sear housing here. It comprises of a total of 4 parts, being the housing itself, this arm, this nice long spring, and then this piece here, which the trigger bar actuates on. So we will start by grabbing our needle nose pliers here and grabbing that arm. The way I like to figure out if I'm holding it vertically the right way is if I can read that serial number, which in this case I can, so I know that this is the right orientation. You'll take your housing and you will see 2 little plus signs here. Bring it through the back, through that first plus sign, and then bring it down and through. And now it is captive in place. And then I like to hold my finger there just to make sure that it doesn't move out the back, and I'll try and flick it forward like so. And take our spring and push it down on top of it, like so. From there you can take your arm, and this has a very distinct slot, and it will match up with this. So and this part's a little bit tricky for me just because it's under spring tension, but you might have less of a time doing it than I will. So line it up with the slot, push it down, and then from there, once you get it down far enough, you can twist it. And again, there's not a whole lot of room to work with, so it might be a little bit tricky. And from there, you can twist it until you get it like so. And you know you did it right when you have nice spring tension, like so. And from here, you can go ahead and add a little bit of oil wherever metal is touching. So in this case, I'll hit a little bit right there, and then a little bit in this groove right here. And this can now sit in the frame in this slot right back here. So just push it down like so. And something to keep in mind whenever things get cerakoted is it adds a little bit of extra thickness, about 1 mil or 1/1000th of an inch. And so it kind of can prevent things from sliding into place perfectly exactly right like they did before cerakoting. And in that case, you might have to manhandle your parts a little bit, like with this piece. Took a little bit extra effort, but now it's in there, and you can see through the hole whether you lined it up properly or not. And then you can use this pin to hold it in place. And again, with the extra thickness, I might have to bop it a little bit harder than I normally would, and that's perfectly normal. In my case, I sprayed this a little bit thick. So you can then switch to a set of brass punches. Brass tends to mar Cerakote a lot less than steel does, for example. So I tend to lean towards brass punches. There we go. It's a lot better. Like that. Switch to a smaller punch here. So, perfect. Now that it is in the frame, I will go ahead and install the mag release, which consists of these 2 parts, one very long pin-like spring, and then the mag release itself. So now we will move on to the mag release. We'll start by inserting the mag release itself into its proper slot, like so. It's a little bit tight, but with some time and oil, it will break in where you need to. I tend to be a little overzealous whenever I'm oiling up parts. It's kind of preference. There is such thing as too much oil where it can get, it makes it to where your firearm tends to get dirty a lot faster than if you had used less oil, but we will go ahead and install it here. And then you can take your spring wherever it landed, your spring right here, and put it in this groove right down in here, that little triangular groove. I like to at least get it started with a set of needle nose pliers. So get it on your pliers. There we go. And you can take something like a punch, or just, nice wide flat bottom, push it into the slot, like so. From here you can take your screwdriver, guide it into the slot. You can see that it works. We'll test it with the mag, also Cerakote. Nice and in there. It will take a little bit to break it in since there's extra thousandth here and extra thousandth on the inside here. But as you can see, our mag release now works. So that is that. Nice, done and installed. From there, we will start putting in the rest of the guts here. We'll go ahead and start with the takedown assembly, which consists of this spring here, which goes in this slot right there. I will go ahead and add a touch of oil to it, since it will be interacting with a metal part. And then the takedown lever itself, which I will also, once again, add a little oil. And I always tend to get a little confused sometimes when I put this in, what direction it should go in. And that's when I rely, once again, on the serial number that is written on it. If I can read it, it's in the right orientation. And from there, something like a screwdriver or a small punch or something helps to push this down, and then you can slide the lever on top of it, like so. You did it right when you actually have room to push it down. When you have it the opposite way, there won't be any room, it'll just be stuck in the down position. But as you can see, we did it properly. Let that oil move in, and we are done there. From here, you can put in your trigger, which I will add a bit of oil to the top of this, as well as on the sides here. And I'll go ahead and lube up this entire side as well, because it can't hurt to be thorough. There we are. Go ahead and see if we can't insert it. It's gonna fight me, that's fun. Alright, and this is where I messed up, because how you should do it is take the sear out first. But figured for demonstration issues, or for demonstration reasons, it'd be simple just to show you while I was talking about this assembly where it goes. Not a big deal. From there, you take your punch block and a, punch, and simply knock that pin out. I don't mind making little mistakes like this because it helps me further reinforce the order of operations. I will need to grab a smaller punch. I shall have returned the smaller punches. These are steel punches, but as long as you're careful, you should be okay. There it is, nice and out. Put this back. Now is the very fun part of pulling this out. You may need something like this Glock tool here to get some leverage, like so, and pull it out. Just be careful because it is still plastic. There we go. Beautiful. Now, from here, you'll take your trigger bar. And this one's a little bit finicky, but if you go in kind of this orientation, down and under the bar right here, and make sure to line it up with the side as like so, you will be good to go. And now you can then go ahead and install your trigger with the sear housing attached to it. There we go. Lines up with the hole properly. You can line up this hole as well. And we'll go ahead and punch that in wherever the pin went. Here it is. Mostly even on both sides, probably hidden in a little bit more. There we go, that's better. Alright, now your trigger and sear housing are both installed. We can then go ahead and put in the slide release, and you'll see a little circular cutout right here, and that's where this end fits onto, as well as this slot right here. So both will fit right there. And you can use a punch to make sure that the pieces all line up in the hole like you need, as you need. Maybe I'll use a bigger punch. There we go. Help get it where it needs to go. We'll go ahead and add a drop of oil there onto that, as well as a drop of oil here and on top. Beautiful. All right, from here, you can then add your guide rails here. It'll sit on top of both of those. Now, once again, everything's a bit of a tight fit due to the added Cerakote. Some firearms are more tolerant than others. In this case, this Glock seems to be unhappy with the extra width, and that's okay. Yeah, go a little bit of effort and force, you can guide it where it needs to go. And then from there, you can use your punch to finagle it wherever you need. Move to a bigger punch. Do the same thing again. There, that's a little bit better. See if I can move up one more. And this helps to, I like this little punch trick because it helps to line things up before you start mashing a nice Cerakoted pin in there. Helps line things up for you ahead of time. All right, and from here, you can take your pin, go ahead and knock it in there. We'll finish it off with a small punch here. Test this. It's a little bit stiff, but that'll break in over time. All right, and now you have your frame fully reassembled. Go ahead and add a drop of oil onto both of these rails, on these rails as well, and back here, here as well. Another drop to this one. There we go. Nice, oiled, and ready for firing. And there's the frame. Now, we will move on to the slide, which has also been engraved and Cerakoted, as you can see. The most common area where we see issues with fitment is this part right here of the barrel itself, lining up against here, and especially this ridge right here. But with time and a little bit of, going back and forth with it, it'll rub away the Cerakote where it needs to, and then it'll start fitting just right. If you're ever worried about fitment issues, you can always buff it a little bit, maybe get some high grit sandpaper, though I would be very careful with sandpaper because you can accidentally wear away just too much, and now you have bare metal, which kind of defeats the purpose of Cerakoting it. But you can do that, or my preferred method, which is to simply keep rubbing away until it fits the way it wants to, and then you'll be all right. So we will go ahead and start with the safety plunger here, and go ahead and oil that up real well. I also tend to have fitment issues with the safety plunger as well. So if you were Cerakoting your work and then go in to reassemble, be aware that this may also be a piece that gives you trouble. And that's when I would recommend just a teeniest little hit of sandpaper, just to make sure you got it right. Okay, insert like so. Does not work, so just flip it the other way. Come on. There we are. In this case, I did not have a lot of trouble, which is a blessing. I've gotten it stuck before in other Glocks and SIGs and so on, and it's a mess when that happens. It's a massive, massive pain. But in this case, I didn't have trouble. You might not. I hope, for your sake, that you don't. And then we'll go ahead and get our extractor, push in that plunger, and put in the extractor like so. Circular bit with the circular bit. And there you have it. There's no tension on it yet, it's just being held in. Then you can take your firing pin, which I will go ahead and oil up very well. And the plastic part too, it can't hurt to have it nice and fluid all around. Go ahead and insert like so. Oop, tee-hee, that fell out, that's all right. Move off that excess. Right, from there, your extractor spring can go in this slot right here. Nice and gently like so. So now there is, you can see it here on the other side, there is a little bit of tension on that extractor. And from here, push in the plunger. That way you can get the firing pin down all the way and slide in the back plate. It's a little bit tricky. There's a lot of spring tension here, a lot of different things to worry about. But by being careful, and with enough time and practice, you can get it done. I like to use a punch and put it on like the edge, say right here. That's to help push it all the way flat. Makes it a little bit easier on me. And then you can put it in like so. And from there, you can take a smaller punch like this one to push in your extractor spring. Remove it. Then from there, just push all the way until it clicks. So that is the extractor, firing pin, and safety plunger all inserted. From there, you can take your barrel, loop up the areas where metal and metal line up. It can't hurt to do this ramp as well. It might have been a bit too much oil, but that's okay. Can't hurt too much. From there, you'll slide it in right down here. And as you can see, we have a little bit of fitment issue. As I would mention, this is likely to happen, and that's okay. You can just push down, push out, and just do that over and over. If you want to, you can also use a hammer, and you can see how it's rubbing away at that part of the Cerakote. And you can do that as many times as you need to until it fits. In this case, since it's taking a little extra to make this happen, I may actually hit it with some 400 grit. Try and make this happen a little faster. I'll give it a couple more tries of oiling and hitting and fitting, seeing if that will help. A little too much oil, but you can wipe that away with a rag or a paper towel or something as you need. I believe it might actually be hitting the rim where I was mentioning earlier, right in here. So I will grab a little bit of 400 grit sandpaper and I will return. I have returned with the 400 grit sandpaper. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky because we're not trying to remove a lot, just the smallest bit, just a little bit of coat. Go in here, go back and forth a couple times. I had to force it a little bit, but it's a little sticky, a little gritty, with enough rounds. So, as we can see, slide release works. Trigger is a little gritty, but that can be fixed up. See, a little bit of extra manipulation and time. This will be a smooth, beautiful, functioning Glock in no time. Go to the range, have fun with it. Beautiful. And that is a Glock 43X, Cerakoted, laser engraved, and reassembled. Thank you for joining us. Hope you like, subscribe, and keep a close eye on our channel for future disassemblies and reassemblies.